Ready. All right, 10 o'clock. Welcome to our BOCC meeting. If you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States. Which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to BOCC meeting for the April 22nd. And have agenda approval.
Commissioner, no change in agenda is presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second that since Jim's not here. Call for the vote.
Commissioner Woodall,
Yes.
Chairman Foyer,
Yes,
motion passes.
and consent agenda.
On this agenda, I have a comp town payout for Roman Hijar from County Sheriff's Office.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second. Call for the vote.
Commissioner Woodall,
Yes.
Chairman Foyer,
Yes.
motion passes.
And now for public comment. We have Kenna
Kevin?
or Kevin, sorry. I have a hard time reading these things. You state your name and address for the record. Well, when you get to, I'm sorry, when you get to the podium.
Kevin Shepard, Walsenburg. I'm here to bring to your attention the serious violations of due process and constitutional rights that have occurred within our county's administration. Violations of due process and Medicaid termination. Recently, a client I represented was abruptly terminated from Medicaid coverage without receiving any prior notice of action. This action contravenes both federal and state laws. Under federal law, specifically 42 CFR and 431.211, state agencies are required to send a notice of action at least 10 days before the date of an action when terminating or reducing Medicaid services. Colorado regulations, namely 10 CCR 2505-10, sections 8.057.2.a reinforce this requirement, mandating that such notices be mailed at least 10 calendar days before the intended action. The U.S. Supreme Court in Goldberg versus Kelly 397 U.S. 254 1970 established that individuals have a property interest in public benefits and are entitled to notice and hearing before termination. The failure to provide such notice is not only violates statutory requirements, but also infringes upon the constitutional rights, due process, and as protected by the 14th Amendment, unlawful trespass and misrepresentation. While assisting this client, I was wrongfully trespassed from the county building. The department had falsely informed law enforcement that my client and I were not entitled to copies of the notice of action or an age printout. She also alleged that we were causing disturbance by filming despite our right to do so under the First Amendment. The 10th Circuit Court of Appeals in Azari versus Yeehaw affirmed that the public has the First Amendment right to report public officials in public spaces, provided it does not interfere with official duties. Colorado law, specifically CRS 18-9-110, stipulates that a person must willfully distribute must willfully disrupt, that a person must willfully disrupt or interfere with the functions of a public building to be lawfully removed. In our case, no such disruption occurred. Miscommunication with judicial authorities. Furthermore, if the department head misrepresented facts to a judge regarding a snap hearing request, claiming non-receipt despite our documented proof of submission. Such actions not only undermine the integrity of our public institutions, but also erode trust in the systems designed to protect and serve our communities.
Okay.
You guys can come up with stop them from, cutting people off without notices. It's public info.
Good.
Thank you,
Thank you. And Annalee.
Annalee Hickey, 2261 County Road 430 in Lapita. I hope you all are having a good week this week so far. I'm here today specifically just to ask for some clarifying information on resolution 25-23. I know this has come up a couple of times in the last several weeks. If I recall correctly, 2 or 3 meetings ago, there was someone up here that specifically asked about the Asset Management Corporation and the roof work. I believe, Carl, you said there was a $40-something thousand that you all were going to use from the Asset Management Corporation to repair a roof at the Mountain Park. I don't know that, I know I never felt real clear on understanding of why it was coming from the Asset Management Corporation to the county. I'm assuming, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, that you all hold money in that can be used for other properties that you own. Do you want to start with that? What was the decision, or why is the $40,000 coming from the Asset Management Corporation? And then I want to go further into this one, which the number's now 100. I have some other questions on that as well.
<clears throat> It's basically just a funding mechanism for the county, the way that it works with county governments and things of that nature. It's not per se it's just the way you can move money from one entity to the other entity and then be paid back for that. It's kind of a little more complex than that, but
Right. Yeah, I mean, I assume that it's similar to the way that the water situation is in Levita, right? They have like their water management company, and then the town has the town, and then the water management. Is it similar to that?
Would you like me to answer?
sure.
I can't speak to town either.
Okay, great.
I don't know, but this is a county enterprise established for various purposes, but including the ability to finance what the county's doing. So it's a loan from county's Asset Management Corporation to county to get work.
So where does the money come from that's in the asset management company?
It comes from various charges and fees that the Asset Corporation has earned. It comes from loans the Asset Management Corporation taken out in the past.
So is it like county fees go to the Asset Management Corporation, or are there specific things the Asset Management Corporation does to produce revenue?
It issues these purchase agreements to the county to produce revenue, and the interest on that is one of the Asset Management Corporation earns.
So the Asset Management Corporation provides some sort of loans or funding to projects happening in the county. And how do they have the money to do that? Where did that money come from, I guess is what my question is. How is the Asset Management Corporation funded?
So the ultimate source of the money. So the first use of the Asset Management Corporation was energy performance contract. Oh, what was it? The first use of it was acquiring the Thorn Ranch.
Right.
So the Asset Management Corporation took out a loan then. Counties have been paying rent on the Thorn Ranch to the Asset Management Corporation for the last several years. Then the second project was Endpoint's contracting project. And the county, the Asset Management Corporation took out a USDA loan, 0% interest to fund that project, the asset management, and did a lease purchase with the county to cover those costs. I think this is the third project.
The third project in the Asset Management Corporation. So just to back up, so that and just it's hard to understand, so I just want to make sure that we're all clear. So like with the Thorn, the Asset Management Corporation, they're the ones that took the loan to obtain it. And then the county rents it essentially and pays money to the Asset Management Corporation for that, right? Okay. And then like, so when I saw that there was a partial release of the deed of trust for the Thorn, which tells me that somewhere there was a payoff for part of the loan. Is that true? Where does that money come from?
To purchase that portion of the land.
Okay, so that was actually from a sale. And then so you sold part of it and then that paid off some of it that was in the asset management company. And so the asset management company has been making some revenue from the interest on the rent, or it's not interest. I mean, the rent payment exceeds the payment for the principal and interest on that particular asset.
Yes.
Okay. So,
And we've kind of gotten past the 3 minutes, so.
okay, I'm sorry. Well, it's the document, this resolution 2523, it's 17 pages of pretty real legalese. And because the number's different than it was a couple of weeks ago. So a couple of weeks ago, it was $40,000 for this roof. And I assume that the Asset Management Corporation has this money to do that. Today, it shows that it's $119,000. And part of that was for the, it looked like for the lift, but I was under the impression that the lift was going to be funded by a grant.
Yes.
Both of these things are funded by a grant.
Okay, so it was the Asset Management Corporation that got the grant or the county that got the grant?
Okay.
So the county takes the money that they got for the grant and moves it into the asset. No, help me understand.
County spends money.
Okay.
County gets, say it takes out a loan, just like any other business takes out a loan, and it's not appropriation to pay for the expense. And then the county gets reimbursed from the grant from that expense.
So DOLA, was it the DOLA grant? DOLA will give the money to the Asset Management Corporation, to the county. Well, help me understand why the Asset Management Corporation is funding the 119,000.
So DOLA doesn't pay for 100%,
Right,
it pays for 50%.
okay.
So the county is getting a loan for the other 50% from asset management.
Does the Asset Management Company, they're the ones that produce the loan or they take the loan?
Reduce the loan.
So they have the money to lend to the county.
In this case, yes.
And what's the difference between the 40,000 for the roof and now the 119? Why is the difference? What?
The lift.
Yeah, the extra parts of it.
And and that's coming out of the Asset Management Corporation instead of the county itself.
And then it'll
What-
come back to the county. with the grant.
So
So it's kind of like, I see that the county gives itself loans. I mean, I saw that. I mean, I looked at the whole chart, but I don't understand what the reasoning is.
So
So
there's-
may I? You're on the school board, correct?
I am.
Did the school board take out a bond for the purchase of a new building?
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
So same thing. You also got a grant for that as well, right?
correct.
So you married the loan plus the grant, you pay for building.
But we don't use a separate entity. So the grant was paid for by,
Where did the money for the
Votes.
bond come from?
from the people and the votes. And then we have the bond that we make the payment for.
You sure? Because the bond comes from a bank usually or from a financing institution.
Mhm.
People pay back the bond,
Right?
but the bond comes from a bank, a financing institution,
Right?
and then they give you the money, which you then pair with the money from the grant,
Correct?
spend. So same situation, asset management, it's writing a loan, there's a grant, pair them together,
And then pay it back.
pay for the project.
But why is it distinguished? Why wouldn't it be just from the county? What makes, and I'm not trying to harp on you, I'm trying to understand what the role of the asset management company is versus it just coming from the county.
So under statute, county governments aren't allowed to take out loans.
Okay,
And so this is a tool, like a mechanism for us to be able to take out loans and actually fund these loans.
okay, so that's a great answer, right? That makes it pretty clear. So this is your mechanism for obtaining loans. And so the 119,000, which part of that is a loan and which part of that is a DOLA grant?
That is the amount of the loan.
Okay, so 119,000 will be a loan that you'll obtain from a bank to the Asset Management Corporation.
No, it'll come from the Asset Management Corporation. That
So
is
the Asset Management Corporation is the lender.
Yes.
In this case.
In this case, it is. Okay. So is it the county that's taking the loan with the Asset Management Corporation?
Yes.
So so a minute ago, you said that's the Asset Management Corporation is the entity used to take loans, but in this case, it's the entity giving the loan.
We're loaning ourselves.
You're loaning yourselves the money. Okay. And so the Asset Management Corporation has the money in their coffers to loan. So in this case, it's not really about the asset management company taking the loan or needing to take the loan, correct? They're actually,
It's unfunded.
they're giving the loan. So in this case, they're not taking a loan from a financer. They're providing the loan to the county.
They are the finance yes.
Okay. That makes that a little bit more clear. So, help me understand the grant matching there and why that goes to the asset management company.
It's not going to the Asset Management Company.
It doesn't. So then the other 119, it's a 50-50 match.
Yes.
So let's just call it 120. That's the DOLA grant. And then the county is going to lend itself the 120 from the Asset Management Corporation and charge itself interest, which, you know, I know that's I'm not saying that's bad or good. I'm just saying that's how it works. That's what you're saying. So does that create a lien against the deed for the Kachera Mountain Park?
No.
It doesn't. It's actually just a lien against the county. It's not even really a lien because
No,
it's
it's
your
a
own,
funding
it's
mechanism.
just you guys. So how come it's titled lease purchase agreement?
That is the legal mechanism for using. So loans can be mortgages, loans can be personal loans can be lease purchases.
Okay. So it's a lease purchase to the county, not to the county's real property assets, meaning the deed to the park?
So this isn't a mortgage where you're like secured with, where you have to have like a deed of trust and you're secured. This isn't that.
It's an unsecured loan
Yes.
to yourself, so it's obviously safe because it's you all doing it. Okay, so I think I understand how that works. And you'll pay back the asset management company over the 5
With
years.
the grant.
Okay, with the grant?
No.
Well, it comes back with when the payments, when it's all said and done, that comes back and pays back the asset management.
So the $130,000 is a number that you budgeted for, or not necessarily because it's in the asset management company? I mean, how does this $35,000 a year get paid? Last week, you guys were really concerned, it sounded like, about there being enough money to sustain the park on behalf of the county.
It gets paid back with county revenues.
So the $35,000 will get paid back, and that's in the budget, and you guys feel good about that. Okay. Okay, I think that clarifies it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone online? Okay.
That's it.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Okay, I'm Kim Trujillo. I'm the finance officer with the county. So just for a little bit of clarification in the difference in the dollar amount, as you remember last week, we don't have the matching funds from Kachera Mountain for their portion of the grant. As we had thought, that's why we asked, it wasn't budgeted. Where are we going to come up with this money? Asset management part. That's why there's the difference in the dollar amount, so that we can come up with the difference in the amount that needs to be budgeted for this project. This was our solution for that. Okay.
And so then will you try to get some of that back Yes.
We hope so.
Okay, that's the goal.
That's the goal. With my experience coming from banking, what I really wanted to do is I wanted to do the lease purchase with them directly. But the county is going to do it, and we're going to take the, hopefully, not revenue, payback for their portion of the grant, their match. Mhm. Right now, it's not in this, but this is the way for us to make up the difference, correct?
Yeah, but these two projects, so instead of our portion covering our portion covering the roof at this point, and this isn't, it's all about, none of this is written down anywhere, right? About who's gonna cover what, but the PSC, volunteered 62,000 for this grant project in total. So basically, they have 15,000 at the moment, that's in that agreement that they have. So we're funding the remaining portion of it, there's also 15 from Huerfano County Parks and Rec.
Can I ask you a question in regards to
You want to come to the mic?
Come back up to the mic. For the record.
Kevin Shepherd again. My question is, what percentage of money that comes from the federal government goes into people's pockets in the community versus into administration? My figures were showing around 8% of the money is actually going into the poor people's pockets, and the rest is going to administration. And the county has about 24 full-time employees in the Department of Social Services. That seems really expensive in a small community like this.
I think that's a question that's beyond my pay grade. You talk to the state about that. Commissioners need something to me that does to the state, that does to the feds.
Yeah, it was like around $400,000. That was like, going into the poor people's pockets.
Yeah, I get it. Above my pay grade.
Whole lot more complex.
Pardon?
It's a whole lot more complex than that. Than that.
I can look at other counties' statistics.
If you want to continue to talk, we need to have it for the record. It needs to be but with a microphone. Maybe you just stay quick because we need to
I've
move
been
on.
involved in welfare rights and assisting people to get on aid and stuff like that since I was around 19 years old. And I've been looking at county statistics, constantly over the years. And I've never seen a county with statistics coming out as low as this. Other counties, like even at 50%, people balk at that, but 8%, that's really, really extreme. Where's that money going?
Okay. On to appointments. And no appointments, permits, licenses, public hearings.
Right, questions?
Hello.
Changing one of the West County's office. Commissioner County?
Go ahead.
Okay, we're gonna start with, permit number 25-003. It's a application for John Webb. He's asking, to do a lot line, vacation as well as vacating some, easements that are on his property. So, March 14th, the applicant submitted the application for the removal of the lot lines between his two parcels, located in Black Diamond, consolidating to one parcel. And so letters were sent out to the referral agencies. We received 3 comments back, and all of them said that they had no problems with the vacation, the Division of Water Resources, that they had no issues as their land is right of city water. On April 10th, our trying to issue a public hearing with no comments from the public. The Planning Commission voted unanimously to approve the vacation of the lot line and utility easements with the condition there would be a deed restriction that the property could never be subject by the again.
Okay. We have a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt, land use permit, 25-002
With the condition.
with the condition that it's not secondary.
Correct. And I second that. Call for the vote.
Commissioner Wardell,
Yes.
Chairman Spillier,
Yes.
motion passes.
Thank you.
So the next item I have is a bulk water permit for Anthony Giamona. He is located off of Highway 69 and mile marker 21. I did a code enforcement inspection on his lot. There were no violations. He does have a camper on there, and he is getting a camper permit. He is looking to build on this property in the future. So he's supposed to get a bulk water permit for this.
Okay.
Pardon me? Question.
Go ahead.
AGC Construction?
Anthony, Jamal,
Okay,
that's his construction. He owns the construction company. He does remodels for like bathrooms and.
so his company owns this property and not him?
So I was looking at the property and stuff, so that he just purchased it.
Do you know the issue with that company?
No, I think this is fine. We have a rate for contractors, but I think that is effectively the same rate as the rate for non-county residents. So this is fine.
Want to take
It's
it
a little
until
bit
next
weird.
week to make sure?
No,
Verify.
I don't think it's necessary. When we switch to we're currently rewriting this regulation, it's part of what I'm hesitating to. That goes in my head as well. When we switch to those, there'll be some more clear stratification about what fee is paid by who, but at the moment it doesn't really exist. So I think this is good to go.
Okay.
Are we gonna charge the
Non-county resident.
non-county resident?
That's what you apply for, correct?
Value respect, I just, right, because he's property. He's not a resident, and it just.
Says in
Got it covered.
non-county resident.
Okay. Have a motion?
Motion to approve permit number 25-0002.
And second that. First and second, any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Wardell,
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier,
Yes.
motion passes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, commissioners, that's all I have from the audience office.
Thank you very much. Action items.
All right, Commissioners, first, if you resolution number 25-20, resolution approving the airport layout plan, and updated master plan for the Spanish Peaks Airfield.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 25-20, resolution approving the airport layout plan and updated master plan for the Spanish Peak Airfield.
And I will second that. With excitement, that is amazing. First and second, any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Wardell,
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier,
Yes.
motion passes. Let's have you resolution number 25-21, resolution reaffirming Huerfano County as a second amendment sanctuary county and declaring its continued opposition to Colorado Senate Bill 25-003.
Make a motion to approve resolution number 25-21, a resolution reaffirming Huerfano County as a second amendment sanctuary county and declaring its continued opposition to Colorado Senate Bill 25-003.
I will second that. Any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Wardell,
Yes.
Chairman Spillier,
Yes.
motion passes. Next, have for resolution number 25-22, resolution appointing Destry DeWolf to the Huerfano County Board of Review for a term expiring on December 31st, 2027.
Make a motion to approve resolution number 25-22, a resolution appointing Jessica DeWolf to Portsmouth County Board of Review for a term expiring on December 31st, 2027.
First, and I will second. Any other discussion? Call for vote.
Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Chairman Bode,
Yes.
motion passes. Commissioner, next have your resolution number 25-23, a resolution authorizing lease purchase financing for the purpose of agreement with Huerfano County Asset Management Corporation Incorporated for the purpose of certain improvements to the Kachama.
Make a motion to approve resolution number 25-23, a resolution authorizing lease purchase financing for the purpose of agreement with Washington County Asset Management Corporation for the purpose of certain improvements to the area.
Chairman's earlier, can I ask one more question?
I'd rather not, but because you're kind of in the middle of it. Okay. Make it quick because you really don't.
Charles Morris, 112 West Virginia, Levita, Colorado. Can were you saying that part of the loan you're hoping if the Panadero Ski Corp gets awarded that they will be then paying part of that loan back? Is that correct?
No.
It's not a loan. Okay.
When
Do you
we're talking
understand what I was
we're
asking about?
We're using loan in the big portion.
Sure.
It is not a personal loan or a mortgage, it is a lease purchase, but big picture.
Sure.
No. Funds come from county funds to pay back this lease purchase, not from PSC.
Okay. And this doesn't create any sort of lien.
No.
Thank you for your
So-
time.
Understand something? A lien in the sense of a mortgage is not created here,
Sure.
but there is an accountability in the county and the asset management corporation for the things that are put on, that are paid for by the lease purchase.
So what were you saying you were hoping that Panadero Ski Corp would eventually personally?
That's not my job. I do a little bit of industry government, a little different. Me personally, I don't love assessing,
I see.
just as a responsibility.
I see. Chairman Swarley, thank you for letting me know.
Okay. Where were we?
Make a motion.
And I second that motion. Any other discussion?
We will be getting this back.
Not the loan, but of the total project price.
Just so that the public is aware.
Yeah, so Dola's gonna pay 50% of the total project price. This is the other 50%. We're gonna use to pay the total project price.
Hopefully this will help get that with on the record.
First and second, call for the vote.
Commissioner Waddell,
Yes.
Chairman Sporter,
Yes.
motion passes. All right, Commissioner, next I have for you a memorandum of understanding for the Huerfano County Mountain Park Lift Rehab Project between the county and Panhandle Ski Corporation.
I'll make a motion to pass resolution number 25-23, resolution authorizing lease purchase financing for. Right on that.
I think I already did that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I clicked on the wrong. one. Getting used to the new system.
I was like, wait a minute.
We'll pass it twice.
That paid 66.
Okay. I had it already. Okay. I'll make a motion to pass Washington County Paramount Park Electric Relocation Project Memorandum of Understanding.
And I second that. First and second, call for the vote.
Commissioner Waddell,
Yes.
Chairman Sporter,
Yes.
motion passes. All right, Commissioners, let's have you ordinance number 25-01, ordinance adopting by reference and enacting a new county code for Huerfano County, Colorado, providing for the repeal of certain ordinances not included therein, providing for the adoption of secondary codes by reference, providing a penalty for the violation thereof, providing for the manner of amending such code, and providing when such code and its ordinance shall become effective. This is presented on the second reading, so once you approve this and it's published in the paper, it'll become effective 30 days after it's published in the paper.
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance number 25-01.
I'll second that. First and second, any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Waddell,
Yes.
Chairman Boyd,
Yes.
motion passes.
Seasonal contracts for this park.
Yes, so next I have for you contracts with Art Martinez, Art Cruz, and James Sharp for maintenance on Fiesta Park. Of course, the summer. You know, the same folks we worked with for a number of years, so it's just re-upping their contracts.
You happy with that?
Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve seasonal contract position for Fiesta Park with Everton.
And then second that. First and second, any other discussion? They do a great job. That's it. Call for the vote.
Commissioner Waddell,
Yes.
Commissioner Spiller,
Yes.
motion passes. All right, Commissioners, next I have for you a document relating to the closeout of the South Central Council of Governments Community Development Block Grant Housing Revolving Loan Program grant. If you look on page 82 of your packet, there is a letter to Colorado Department of Local Affairs Division of Housing that explains the amount that is going to be obligated, and that is what you are being requested to sign.
Page 82.
82.
Oh, yeah.
$1,116.00.
Yep.
Yep. So would that be for the contract number? Would that be the motion for the contract number?
The motion before the line number, on page, the total. That's not that's being obligated. The 23,116
Yes. I'll make a motion to deobligate for the obligation of funds for contract number H0CDB 20012 in the amount of $23,116.01.
Second that. You know, the discussion. Call for the vote.
Commissioner Waddell,
Yes.
Chairman Boyd,
Yes.
motion passes.
Okay.
All right, next I have for you a request to approve the purchase of new network equipment for the Huerfano County Sheriff's Office at a cost of approximately, not to exceed $12,000.
Make a motion to approve the purchase of new networking equipment at the Sheriff's Office in the amount not to exceed $12,000.
I second that. Let's do the repair. First and second, any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Waddell,
Yes.
Chairman Boyd,
Yes.
motion passes. All right. Commissioners, next I have for you two letters to Representative Jeff Hurd regarding, the first is regarding county road upgrades, resurfacing and overlay projects, and the total amount of $44,700,000. And then for equipment in the amount of $1,000. And this was an opportunity that Rep. Hurd's office, that he and his office asked us to give them an idea of everything we wanted to get done and pie in the sky it, and that's what we've done here. I don't know that I could fathom handling $44 million at once, but let's see what we get.
I'll make a motion, approving the two letters to Representative Jeff Bird, one in the amount of $44,700,000 for the recruiting projects. And the other letter, $3,001,000 for equipment.
Yeah, I'll second that. All right, Sky motion. All for the vote.
Commissioner Waddell,
Yes.
Chairman Sport,
Yes.
motion passes.
Okay, correspondence.
All right, first I have for you your March 2025 fuel reports. Then I have for you a letter from the Sampson Law Firm on behalf of the Kachar Foundation regarding the Kachar Park.
Staff reports.
I did not put out a staff report for this meeting. I got a little jammed up with these purchases and letters to Congress people. But we do have a few positions open. This is office position closed last week, as did our dispatch manager and dispatch supervisor and dispatcher positions. So we are still looking for an auto mechanic, and of course, we work in the jail and serve as sheriff's deputies.
Well, okay. I am not in county attorney.
Not this time.
Okay. No need for executive session. All right. Well, for adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second that. Call for vote.
Commissioner Waddell,
Yes.
Chairman,
Yes.
motion passes.
Adjourn the meeting at 10:41.